Alright guys, welcome back, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to add a video player to your app. So if you ever want to make an app where the user can play videos, then this is how you do it. However, before we begin, I want to warn you of one thing. Whenever you develop this project and you run it in the emulator is unable to play videos at this moment. I don't know if they're developing a system where they can display videos in the future, but right now the emulator that you make in Android Studio can't display videos. So to test this out, you're probably going to need to run it on an actual device. And if you don't know how to set up an actual device for testing, then I'll make a video in like 10 tutorials probably showing you guys how to do that. But for right now, I just want to warn you guys that if you try to follow along with this and then you run it in the emulator, it's just going to show up as a little black box and you're not going to see anything moving. So nonetheless, this is how you add videos to your app. So start a new Android Studio project, and I'm just going to name mine Video Player, and make sure that you select API 15 because the packages that we're going to be using, this is the minimum SDK that's going to be compatible, and then click Next and just choose blank activity, Next. Good enough. Alright, so once everything is done, finished being set up, we have our design file and of course the main activity. So the first thing I want to do is mention this. You see how we have this text view by default? We're going to delete this in a little bit, but take note of where it is. So we position this within our relative layout, but we still have this bit of padding around the left hand side and the top. Now this is because if you go in your source code view, actually let me clean up my properties a little bit so you guys can see what's going on a little bit easier. So by default, this relative layout was given to us by 16 dps of padding around the edge. Now whenever I plop that video player in there, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that in just a bit, I want it to butt up against the side of the screen. I don't want it to look like it's floating in the middle. So what we can do is we can actually select all of this padding from the relative layout and just delete it. And now if you go back to your design view, you can see that the widgets are now butted right up against the edge. Pretty cool. So of course we don't need this text view, so we can just select that and delete it. Now what we do need in order to play videos is one widget. So if you scroll down to containers, right here you're going to see this widget called Video View. So take this widget and drag it right on your relative layout and just release. So by default it takes up the entire screen. Good enough. Now the only other thing we have to do for the design is select that video view, and we need to give it an ID. So I'm just gonna name this what can I name it, like Lucky's video view. Hit enter, and now we can reference it through our code. Alright, so hop over to main activity, because this is all the interface is going to be. Probably the easiest GUI we ever designed. So again, hop over here, and the first thing I want to do is delete these last two methods. These are just for the menu, and I don't really need those. I just want to keep this tutorial very simple, very basic. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to import two things. So import Android.widget, of course, the video view, and we already saw what that was. And the next thing I want to import is this, Android.widget.media controller. Now by default, this video view is going to be capable of displaying just pure videos. Now this media controller is pretty much the video player like you would think of it. And by that I mean all of the buttons like the play button, the pause button, the stop button. So if we just want to display a video to play automatically, then we can just use this video view. But if we want to allow the user the ability to play it, stop it, pause it, whatever, then we use this media controller. It's like video controller. So simple enough. So now let me go ahead and do this. So in your onCreate, the first thing we want to do is we want to get a reference to that video view, that area that can display videos. So final video view, Bucky's video view, and of course just set this equal to video view right there, Bucky's video view. So simple enough. Now after this, now that we have a reference to it, in order to say, okay, this is the video that I want to display in this area, we actually need a video. So what I did is I uploaded a real quick sample video. All I did is I actually just recorded my screen, and I went in MS Paint and made a real quick smiley face in this video. I just moved my mouse around and it looks like this little face is talking. So probably the dumbest video ever, but I wanted a real small MP4 file just for testing. So if you guys want the same one, of course you can find any MP4 file on the internet and it'll work. But if you guys want this one, then again, thenewboston.com/forum/project_files/006_testvideo.mp4. Alright, so how do we set the video player to play this video? Well, just take that view and call a method called setVideoPath. Now inside here, you just throw in that string. Pretty simple. So now we said, okay, this video view is going to display this video. And in order to actually play it, you actually call just one last method, and that's videoView.start. So now, if we actually run this, I'll show you guys. Again, remember I said that your emulator isn't going to be capable of displaying the videos, so if you actually want to see, you're going to run it on an actual device. But we can go ahead and run it right now to make sure we don't have any bugs or errors. Alright, now one other thing I forgot is you need to add a permission to your manifest. So, and that's just say that, hey, we want to use the internet, and that's just because we are referencing a file on the internet instead of locally on our device. So again, go to your manifest and add this, and once you run it, you are going to see, let me close out of this, you are going to see this. Now typically this black box is where the video would play, and actually whenever you run this program in your emulator, you are going to be able to hear it. You just aren't going to be able to see the video. So your challenge for this tutorial is type in the comment below what this dude is saying, because if you can hear it, then everything's working fine. And also, I want to mention, by default, whenever you take this and flip it horizontally so it's orientated in a different direction, the video is automatically going to stretch to fill up your entire screen. So that's another cool feature about it. So now that that's taken care of, and also I highly recommend doing this on a device, it's going to make a lot more sense. But anyways, now that our video is working, I want to show you guys how to add the optional media controller. And even though it's optional, you probably want to do this like 99% of the time, unless you have, you know, a really important reason not to. But I'll just say player controls like play, pause, stop, etc. Alright, so the first thing you need to do is you need to get a reference to this media controller class, or the object. So media controller, I just named mine media controller, set it equal to new media controller object. Now we're going to pass in this for context. So now the only thing we have to do is we take that media controller object, and we're going to call a method called setAnchorView. And for the anchor, we need to pass in whatever your view is named right here. So now, one last line of code, you actually take this, and I know it's kind of weird, but this is just how it's done. And for the view, you set the media controller, which means, okay, I want to set a video player on this to media controller. You think that they could just do this in one line of code, but that isn't how it's done. So again, 3 simple lines. Pretty much get an object, which is the video player, and set the video's view to that video player. Alright guys, so even though you can't see it, I just ran it on a device and it works fine. And another thing I probably should mention, if you hold down the left control key, you know how you have 2 control keys on your keyboard? One's on the very left bottom corner and one's kind of to the right of your spacebar. If you hold down the left control key and hit F12, it's gonna rotate your emulator. So I thought that it might show if I rotated it, but again, typically whenever you have a video, your video's gonna be right here, And of course, all of your player controls are going to be right here at the bottom. Pause, rewind, forward, all of that good stuff. So again, there you have it. I know you can't see it, but trust me, it's there. If you can hear it, it is working correctly. So for now, thank you guys for watching. In the next video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to use your camera to take images and save them on your device.